Hi guys, welcome to Mythology's very first video. So in today's video we're going to be covering the first topic on the IGCSE EDEXCEL specification, which is classifying numbers and the order of operations. So let's get right into it. So starting off with classifying numbers, there's what's called real numbers, and these can take an infinite or finite decimal form. And real numbers are basically any number that can be represented on the number line. These can be divided into two types, rational or irrational numbers, and the key difference between these two is that rational numbers can be written as a fraction, whilst irrational numbers cannot. Some examples of rational numbers include 0.5, because, as you can see, it could be represented as 5 fraction of 5 over 10, or 2.5, because it could be written as a fraction of 5 over 2. Now, for irrational numbers, they have an infinite number of decimal places that is also non-repeating, and there is no pattern to it. So that means it's not a recurring decimal. That is why it can't be written as a fraction. We'll talk more about recurring decimals in a later video, so stay tuned for that. And some examples of irrational numbers include pi and square root of 2. This is a diagram showing the real number system, and rational numbers can be divided further into fractions and integers. Integers are whole number and is basically any number that can be written without a fractional part or having like a decimal point after it. And it can be negative, 0, or positive. And what's really important to note as well is that 0 isn't a positive integer or a negative integer, it's just 0 alone. And that's often a common mistake that people make, so that's something that's really important to remember when answering problems, that when referring to positive integer, do not include 0. So moving on to BIDMAS, it's the order in which used to calculate numbers. What this means is if you were to be given like a long list of math operations or calculations to do, you would use BIDMAS to decide which of those operations to calculate first between the two numbers. And BIDMAS stands for brackets, indices, which is something to the power of something, for example, 2 to the power of 4, division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. Now, BIDMAS works from top to bottom priority, so the top being brackets is of the highest priority, whilst addition and subtraction being of the lowest priority. So it works from top to bottom. Now, division and multiplication is actually on the same level of importance. So if you see both of those two, you can decide to do any of those two first, but I usually prefer going from left to right. And same goes for addition and subtraction, having the same level of importance or priority. So now that we have an understanding of what BIDMAS is and what it's used for, let's take a look at a question. So here we have a bunch of mathematical operations. So using the BIDMAS rule, we know that if we see a bracket, we would calculate the numbers inside the bracket first. So here we have 4 plus 5, which gives us 9. And now that we've calculated brackets, the next thing we have are indices. So we calculate 7 to the power of 2, which gives us 49. What's left is addition and multiplication. And remember, we work from top to bottom priority in the BIDMAS rule. So we calculate 49 times 3 first, because multiplication is above addition in the BIDMAS rule, giving us 147. And lastly, we do the addition, which is 9 plus 147, giving us 156. So now here's another question. And by using the same rule, we know that when we see a bracket, we would calculate the numbers inside the brackets first. And within the brackets, we see that there's indices and addition. So we would do indices first, giving us 16, 4 to the power of 2. And then after doing the indices, we would then do the addition. 16 plus 9 giving us 25. Going outside the brackets, we would then do the multiplication first. Like I said, multiplication and division has the same level of importance. So if you see those two, you can do any first, but I, as I said, prefer from left to right. And 2 times 10 is 20. And then after that, we would do division, which is 20 divided by 5, giving us 4. And then lastly, the lowest of importance, we would then do the subtraction. So 25 minus 4 gives us 21.
Thank you so much for watching, guys, and make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more upcoming